Hello, time for a video. It's been a week or two now, but I've had quite a lot on. This is just going to be a very quick one today. Someone wrote to me on my blog, EnglishRightNow.com, basically asking for free assessment and evaluation. Now, usually I don't take any notice of this kind of a letter, because why should I? However, on this particular occasion, I don't have anything better to do. It's a Sunday, it's pissing it down. I've been spending hours working on accounting and admin shit, and I've just done a couple of letters. So while I'm here, while I've got time, I'm going to take a look at this letter. Now, fair use, my usual disclaimer for any copyrighted material is used only for teaching purposes. Now, I don't know where the case notes originated from. I'll turn this off. She sent me this. Now, I don't know what this is, where it's from, whose it is, if this is originally OET, or if it's something that someone else has written. If there's any complaints about issues of copyright, if you send me a message, if you really insist, I'll take it down. Okay? So, what do we have to do? So, first things first. As always, we go to the task and see who we are writing to and what we're supposed to be doing, requesting that person to do. Okay, so we want a transfer of our patient to a more appropriate care. So apparently the patient is in an old age, what it says, aged care home. So it's like a old person's home, essentially. And let's see, they are 23. They've had some neurological injuries, and they're currently, so they were in a coma. They woke up, they're in this old person's home, in a wheelchair. They're 23 and they don't want to be in an old person's home. Well, it's understandable. Not that there's anything wrong with being old, but still, that's what the task is. So we want to request that this person be transferred from the old person's home to a more appropriate centre. Okay, so that's what we've got to do. So we've got to mention the need for ongoing speech therapy, a physio, and possible continuation of online studies, because they were a student. So it's here, third year student, they had an accident and they want to resume their studies. They can use a computer. We've got normal brain function, but we're not so good at speaking. Okay, so now the letter which I was sent doesn't have any address or closing or the usual conventions, so I can't comment on most of the criteria. For those of you who don't know what the criteria are, I'll quickly get the assessment criteria open and just have a quick look at that. So we've got the overall task, achievement, language, the comprehension, linguistic features, etc. Now, the presentation features refers to the conventions of layout, addressee, name, opening, and closing. So I can't comment on those because they're not present. Okay, so all I can really do here is merely comment on the language. Is the task achieved? What's the language? Any problems in grammar, a vocabulary, level of formality, etc. Okay, because I can't really do a complete assessment, and because it wasn't hand written, I can't really comment on punctuation or spelling, because they might have used a word check. Now, when people send me a letter, For the first one, I usually ask that they write it out first. Okay, then I can check, is it legible? I know it's a cliche of doctors, but I have had some doctors whose handwriting was virtually illegible. And obviously, if the examiner can't read it, then they can't mark it. So I usually get people to send me a letter. They take a photograph first and they type it out. So the first one is just so I can see, can we read it? What's the punctuation and the spelling? Because when you type it out, obviously you've got you know, word check on Word and different bits of software that can help you with the punctuation and spelling. Okay, so I can't comment on all the criteria. Now, my usual letter assessments, I'll just show you one which I did a while ago. I usually do it something like this. Okay, so, and again, this one here doesn't have the letter, but what I do, I go through the criteria one by one, as you can see, and I comment on everything, you know. However, as there's no address here, as I said, can't really do that for this particular letter. So let's have a look at it. Now, the first things first. Now, you don't need a period after Mr. You only need that if it's an abbreviation like Admiral or Captain or Superintendent. If it's Mr., Mrs., Ms., you don't use one. Okay, Mr. Maydew, who has been diagnosed. Well, it's not the diagnosis, is it? We know he's got has neurological injuries. So, right. The grammar's good, present perfect there. Okay, but has been diagnosed. We know this. He's in hospital, so we don't have to say this. What we need is to say, okay, Mr. Maydew, who is suffering or who is recovering from neurological injuries. So we don't really need this because that's irrelevant. Who is recovering from neurological injuries, blah, blah, blah. He's being discharged today and his mother requests to transfer what? Requests you to transfer him or requests he be transferred. So either his mother requests that you transfer him or he be transferred. Mother requests that he be transferred to your care. Let me see, request that he be transferred into your care for the fast. Now, we wouldn't use a definite article there. Now, for, you know, we don't really need an article at all, but if you use a definite article, it means a specific recovery, and we haven't mentioned that yet. So usually with article use, as you know, or you ought to know, when you mention something for the first time, you use an indefinite article, but here we're talking about fast recovery in general, so there's no need for an article for fast recovery. Now, you can use that, but maybe people might say for a fast recovery or for the speedy recovery or for a quick recovery or quicker if it's a comparative. So, okay, so there's a couple of things there which we could change. Now, oh yes, I forgot to quickly check for word count. 196, so that's good. Okay, Mr. Maydew, now, why would you do that? You would simply say Mr. Maydew was a third year physical student, physical education, because a physical student, that's, you know, what does that mean? Physical education student of university at the time of this incident. What incidents? I suppose you are referring to the accident. Okay. He was in a coma. Well, I think you mean a coma, not a comma. Or he was in a coma a coma stage? Well, simply he was in a coma. He was in a coma over 4 months, or 4 months. Now, because it's a specific hospital, we need a definite article. The Royal Adelaide Hospital. Now, and they. What's this pronoun? Why is it a plural? And they and he was transferred. And again, why is it plural? It's only him. So he was transferred to Glenelg Care Home for rehab. Now, we don't need a definite article here because it's rehabilitation therapy in general. Fortunately, he has reverted. Now, right, why would this be present perfect? If we know when the past event happened, simple past would do. Fortunately, he reverted, or he regained. I think that's a better word than reverted to normal brain function 2 months ago, but unfortunately he has lost his voice. Now, Mr. Maydew, and we've got some spelling here, so again, I don't know if this is a typo, but because it's we need to use a genitive case, it's a possessive, so Mr. Maydew's prognosis is very slow with physiotherapy and also with speech therapy. Now, we've got a very short sentence here. He's able to use a wheelchair. Why isn't that part of a previous one? Now, you know, making simple sentences is not such a good idea for most exams. They want you to make a complex one, you know, main clause, a subordinate clause, you know, using punctuation and conjunctions. Yeah. Cohesive devices, not simply having a very short, he is able to use a wheelchair. So, this needs to be part of the previous one or join onto another sentence. However, I would use however because it's a contrast to the prognosis, slow, things are good. However, so things are not so good with his physio and speech. However, in contrast, he is able to use a wheelchair. Okay. Now, his mother and sister were attentive. Are they not still attentive? Have they pissed him off? No. So, his mother and sister are attentive. I hope they're still attentive. And a career, I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean and caring? His mother and sister are attentive, and a career, no idea if that means caring, career, no idea. Also, his mother is a nurse. Okay, well, that's very useful information, but what's that got to do with wanting the reader to accept this person into their institution? It's not brilliant, right? So everything that you include in your letter must be relevant and pertinent. If it's not, don't include it. So, oh, his mother and sister are or were attentive. What's that got to do with you asking me to take this guy into my care home? What's that got to do with anything? Okay, also his mother is a nurse. Well, congratulations to her, but again, unless you're going to draw some kind of conclusion and relevance, there's no point in telling me this. Now, here we're getting to the point. His mother believes that because of the aged care setting has been slowing the recovery. Well, you mean his? I don't know why we need an article there. Isn't it his? A pronoun is better. That the aged care, right. His mother believes that the aged care setting has been slowing his recovery, and he has been depressed as well. Which is making him depressed. Let's have a quick look. Does it say anything? Yeah, a depression. Yeah, so you can connect that. Look at it saying, so his mother believes the aged care setting has been slowing his recovery and contributing to his depression. Okay, so that's not bad. That fits. He's able to use a computer and he wishes to resume his online study soon. Okay, but again, we've got a sentence here that's kind of dropped in with no introduction. I had mentioned this before. It's not a good idea to simply drop in things with no connection to the previous sentences. So you need some kind of what's called a gambit, an introductory expression. You know, or like an adverb or something like a contrast word. However, despite this, despite his depression and slow progress in recovery, he is able to use a computer and he wishes to resume his online study soon. So, you know, some kind of a gambit or phrase that connects it to what's come before. So you say like, despite his lack of progress, or something such as that. He's able to use a computer and wishes to resume soon. Now, redundancy. While under your care, could you please provide appropriate care? Well, shouldn't they, as opposed to what? Inappropriate care? That doesn't make sense. So, simply, could you please provide appropriate care for Mr. Mayhew? Or usually, you restate your request at the end. So, in view of the circumstances, could you please provide appropriate care? In view of this, in view of the above, in view of the circumstances, I am requesting you to provide appropriate care. Yeah. So something such as that. Okay. Please continue. Please make an arrangement for his online studies. Okay. But we've got no. Well, that's a kind of closing, but we don't have a yours sincerely, regards, conductor, etc. So this is the main body, essentially, or section of a letter. Okay. Now, as we can see, there's a few things that need to be changed here. So there's, I'll just put it all on the screen so you can pause it, and I'll put the, I'll post the letter, the complete letter, in my channel, and I'll put it on my website as well, so you can see this. So you can see we've got some, oops, and I forgot to take these out too. Yeah, as I said, no period required. So get that comma, sorry, get that full stop out of the way. But apart from that, it's always good to begin your paragraph with the name of the patient, and then a pronoun, you know, he, him, etc. So that's not so bad. Refer Mr. Mayhew, who's recovering from being discharged, mother requests. Okay, so there's some vocab, there's some grammar, there's a few things that need rearranging. So yes, a little bit of attention needed for this letter, I think. Well, I hope that helps, and I'll be making some more videos and commenting on letters later in the week. As I say, if anybody's got any issues with the copyright here, if you really insist, or if you want, I can give you a credit for your material. I can put that in the video if you wish. If there's any issues, send me a mail. Okay, and I'll see you later.